What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video. And today we're going to be talking about and focusing on the wide receiver position for the New York Giants. I think it's probably our biggest issue we have on this team right now. And a lot of you guys want to thought, it's the quarterback, it's Daniel Jones, crying out loud. We're going to talk about it right now. I'm going to make a video later on in this week. Probably be uploaded as soon as maybe in the next couple of days, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, about everything that's wrong with the Giants right now and how we can fix it by this year. Now, it's not realistic, but it's just something to throw out there and to think about. But I had to make a separate video on the wide receivers because I think the way that the Giants have managed this position is by far the worst I've ever seen one of the worst, because Jerry Reese didn't manage the linebacker position or offensive line very well, but one of the worst positions managed I've seen from a Giants team in a very long time. I mean, it's just complete neglect. Complete neglect. So let's get right into it. So as you guys know, the Giants are currently with 4 wide receivers on the roster. That's absolutely unheard of. You don't see that in the NFL. 4 wide receivers. I mean, you could potentially throw out all your wide receivers on one play in a 4 wide receiver set, 1 tight end out there, no running back, or maybe just a running back and 4 wide receivers out there. You can see that. You can throw 100% of your wide receivers out there. Usually, you would want to keep 5 or 6 on the roster, and the 6th one never sees the field. He's there in practice squad. I mean, he's there in special team situations. But the Giants have 4 wide receivers on the roster right now. What happens? And I said this already when it came to Sterling Shepard. Before Sterling Shepard. As you guys know, Sterling Shepard is on IR with a toe injury. So our big 3 is just gone for the wide receiver position. Darius Slayton, Golden Tate, CJ Board, and Damian Ratley, for crying out loud. Damian Ratley. I said this before, and everybody thought I was over-exaggerating. What happens if Golden Tate gets hurt, and then the next week Sterling Shepard gets hurt, and Darius Slayton has an injury? Because all 3 of those guys have had injuries in the past. Darius Slayton missed the first 2 games of his rookie campaign due to an injury. Sterling Shepard, we all know what's going on with Sterling Shepard. I mean, concussions everywhere. This time, it's his pinky toe. All right, next, Golden Tate. He's on the tail end of his career. Although this guy hasn't had too many injuries in his career, and it's never really held him back, he is getting there in age where injuries might start playing a part. And guess what? He missed the first game of the season due to an injury. So everything I said was completely spot on about this wide receiver position. Darius Slayton is an accident waiting to happen. I don't know. Let's see what happens. He's a frail guy. He's a speedster. Hamstring injuries are very common for the burners, okay? Darius Slayton is a burner. He's a burner on our team. He's the guy. He's a deep threat that everybody... Oh, there's the remote. He's the deep threat that everybody fears on the team, a guy that you roll coverage to, right? These guys have hamstring injuries. It happens. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he had in his rookie campaign. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. If you're not, you guys love to fact check me anyway. So that being said, we have 4 wide receivers on the roster right now. Complete neglect of the position. When you have, we thought that this was going to be just a quick little thing when we saw the first initial 53-man roster having 4 wide receivers. And we're like, wait, what? I mean, they should at least have 6 wide receivers on the roster. Or was it 5? I think it was 5 wide receivers, right? It was 5 wide receivers, and we're like, well, there should be 1 more. Add a 6th one in there. And now we're with 4 wide receivers, and we've been that way ever since. Ever since Sterling Shepard got sent to IR, we've been that way ever since. We promoted Austin Mack. He got hurt, and we put him right back on the practice squad. What are we doing with this wide receiver position right now when you see the production that they're putting out there by week 5 of this season? You guys saw last week, right? Damian Ratley on that pick play. Everybody's talking about, and me and Hub talk about it all the time. Shout out to the Hub. We do the Giants live stream every week. We talk about scheming wide receivers open, but it had me thinking when watching film, how can these guys scheme each other open if they're not good? We're talking about CJ Board and Damian Ratley as our number 3 and number 4 wide receivers. We've seen Damian Ratley trying to scheme Darius Slayton open on a rub route. He forced an OPI. Okay, and I'm sorry, it was a blatant OPI. He literally did not run a route. You have to run the route. He stopped there when he made contact as if he was blocking. Okay, that is the issue. Everybody's like, that was a ticky-tack OPI call. No, that was an OPI if I've ever seen one. You can't just sit there, because that's a block. You have to run a route. He just sat there. Darius Slayton does not get open if that doesn't happen. Sorry, it doesn't. Our wide receivers can't even scheme each other open, so that then narrows down the play calling. And that's why I think Jason Garrett really hasn't completely opened up the playbook and get really creative. Now, we've seen them get really creative, but in the backfield with a lot of sweep passes, a lot of reverses, right? We've seen a lot of that kind of open up. We've seen a flea flicker, right? A lot of backfield trick plays. We haven't seen a lot of different route combination, at least when I watch on film. I don't see a lot of different route combinations out there. Everybody's kind of out there doing their own thing. Not a lot of crosses, not a lot of smash concepts, none of that. No flood concepts either. Guys, levels, right? Level concepts. This is fundamental stuff when it comes to offensive play calling, and you just don't see it for the New York Giants. They're kind of like doing their own thing. One's running a hook, one's running a go, the other's running an out completely in other directions. We're just seeing vertical plays, them just freaking hauling ass downfield. We don't see a lot of different complicated route combination from the New York Giants, and I think it's because of the talent level that we have right now. And it's complete neglect, as I've been saying before. Completely neglect. Why did we let go of Corey Coleman for Damian Ratley? Makes no sense to me whatsoever. It seems to be a bad move so far. I know Damian Ratley did something with Cleveland. It doesn't seem to be taking place with the New York Giants right now. We look at the practice squad. We have 5 million wide receivers on the freaking practice squad right now. Austin Mack, Benjamin Victor, Alex Bachman. We've got a couple other guys on there as well. These are guys that are not great, but they've made plays in training camp. Alex Bachman to be the most notable one, right? Alex Bachman caught absolutely everything in those scrimmages we've watched. We watch in training camp highlights. He's the guy that's always out there, always being mentioned as one of the standouts. Why aren't we putting him out there? Give Alex Bachman a chance just to prove himself and be that fifth wide receiver. I mean, for crying out loud, we passed Daniel Jones in the first 2 weeks of the season, passed the ball over 40 times. We can't run the ball effectively. Now, we ran the ball very nicely last week. That was due to Dallas's terrible defense. The prior week, they allowed 370 rushing yards, for crying out loud. We better have been able to run the ball on Dallas, okay? And we didn't even run it that great. I mean, Devontae Freeman had 60 yards on the ground. Okay, I guess that's an improvement. He averaged 3.5 yards a carry. All right, I guess it's a sight for sore eyes for the past couple of weeks. But we still can't run the ball effectively, and we still are relying on the pass. And we don't have consistent guys at the position. So let's look at what we can do. I mentioned already, the practice squad. Let's elevate one of these guys. Alex Bachman, let's get him a chance. Benjamin Victor, he's a guy that's a tall wide receiver, 6'4" guy, just about 200 pounds, has some speed to him. I think we should give him a try. Austin Mack reminds me a lot of Victor Cruz, a possession slot receiver, not as fast, not as shifty, but the guy can really catch the ball and really move the chains. So these are three guys that I'm really intrigued about. So guys that are off the market right now and guys that are on other teams right now. Who's available in free agency? Well, I've been looking at free agency and I don't really see anybody too notable. The Giants have $6 million in cap space right now. So there have been recent news now that AJ Green is now on the trade block, and there are a couple of wide receivers on the trade block right now, but let's start with AJ Green. Should we trade for AJ Green? Now, initially I was going to make just a video about this, but I just thought it was too foolish to do so. I didn't want to fool you guys into thinking that we should, or make you guys click on it for that reason. I definitely don't even want to talk about that for too long, because first of all, AJ Green is at the tail end of his career. He's over his 30s. He signed a franchise tag, which I can't believe Cincinnati did, but he signed a franchise tag for $18 million for that wide receiver position. And he has 14 receptions for 119 yards so far. I thought it was a bad move the moment he signed it. I thought it was terrible, being that he's coming off an injury from last year, missing the season. I don't think it was a great move. This is a guy that's injury prone as well. And he just wouldn't be a right fit with the New York Giants. He needs to go to a team that's more of a championship caliber team. Think of an Emmanuel Sanders, right? Emmanuel Sanders was a really good wide receiver in his prime with Denver and with Pittsburgh. Therefore he went to I believe he went to San Francisco, right? San Francisco, he helped them get to the Super Bowl over there, and then now he's with the Saints. He was with 2 championship caliber teams, trying to help them win. More of a role player type guy, not a number 1, but more of a role player type guy to help them win games. That's exactly what I see AJ Green, and I don't think it will be a right fit for him here. Another guy that's very intriguing is Allen Robinson. Now, if we had the cap space, I think this would be a absolutely perfect move. Now, Allen Robinson is making $15 million so far this year, but Chicago, he's on the trade block because Chicago only has to face a $4 million cap hit if he were to get traded. Now, he is a free agent as of next year, but we would obviously try to re-sign him at that point because he's only 28 years old. But this is a guy that completely works with terrible quarterbacks. I mean, Daniel Jones would instantly be the second best quarterback he's ever worked with. Obviously, Nick Foles right now is probably the best one, the more accomplished, and he seems to be having a really good chemistry with him right now. But Allen Robinson has made guys like Blake Bortles look good, Chad Henne, Chase Daniels, and Mitch Trubisky. These are the 4 quarterbacks that he's worked with besides Nick Foles, and they all stink, but yet he's still putting up numbers. Think of DeAndre Hopkins working with all those terrible quarterbacks in Houston. I mean, Allen Robinson is the same way, just not as flashy. But this guy has one of the best catching radiuses you will ever see. I mean, he will go up and grab any ball you throw at him. But the only problem is the Giants do not have the right cap space. They are projected to have $6 million in cap space right now. It's just not enough. He's on a $15 million contract right now. Yes, we're through 5 weeks of the season right now, but it just doesn't add up. We have to have money left over, and that will take up more than what we have right now. So Allen Robinson is off the board. We look at the current trade block right now. The only other wide receivers on the trade block is Alshon Jeffrey, and that's dear God, hell no. And Odell Beckham, you don't get back with your ex. You just don't. And then another guy that's intriguing is Deshaun Hamilton, is a young wide receiver with the Denver Broncos, who's kind of not really getting a lot of opportunities anymore due to all the wide receivers that they have over there in Denver. You've got Cortland Sutton, you've got KJ Hamler, and you've got most notably Jerry Jeudy over there. So he's a guy that we could potentially trade for, but as far as the Giants and Denver trading with each other, I don't think they are good trade matches because we traded with Isaac Yiadom, and that turned out to be not very good. And we also have Kenny Stills as well. I think Kenny Stills would be a good fit on the roster as well. And let's take a look at Kenny Stills' contract right now. Now, Kenny Stills is only making about $7 million right now, and obviously it wouldn't be that much because we're through 5 weeks of the season. He's already been paid by the Houston Texans, however much that is in 5 weeks. So it would be less than $7 million. We could probably get him in here. He is 28 years old as well, and he's another speedster. Kind of fits what the Giants are doing, and I think would be a good fit on this team. But then again, I don't think the Giants are really have the cap space and really the room to trade for any players. But that's just 3 guys that you can throw out there. I think AJ Green is a no-go. I think Allen Robinson will be great if we had the cap, and I think Kenny Stills would be a good thing if the Giants want to take a risk with that, to try to add some more talent in here for the future, try to build momentum for next season, whether we keep Kenny Stills or not, because he's a free agent at the end of this season. Whether we keep him or not, it would help get the Giants knowing what it's like to have the talent on there, at least have their scheme work. I don't want to go through this whole season having the worst ranked offense in the NFL and we have to build off of that next year. I want to at least try to get productive, whether we keep Kenny Stills or not, whether we keep these guys or not. I want to at least get productive so that we know what we need going into next season. Taking a look at the wide receiver options in free agency right now, it's just not looking good. There's not any guys out there that really wouldn't be better than the guys we have on the practice squad right now. A couple of them are out there, but obviously you have to get them accustomed to the playbook and have to try to get them out there. I don't think it would be a good deal. So that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I mean, how do we fix this? How do we fix this wide receiver position? Because in my opinion, it is the worst problem that we have, and I think it's worse than the offensive line right now, because the offensive line has done some great things. The wide receiver position, not so great. So that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new. I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!